Good evening and welcome to Sun Middle Temple. We are so happy you've joined us. My name is Alba and I use she, her pronouns. This is our second November observance and I'm so happy you are here. As always, the services will be recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday and keep your eye out for our upcoming December events. We'll open today with our opening words, which will appear on the slide behind you. Please read along at home or listen as I read the words aloud. We welcome you into the light of the gods and light this flame in celebration. May its brightness symbolize our connection to the gods and the natural world. May you join us in this community of faith, cherishing love and with open hearts. So our theme for this month is loyalty, and our readings today are The Furies from the House of Atreus by Aeschylus, translated by E.A.D. Morshead, a Roman numeral chapter of the Book of the Dead, translated by Sir P. Page Renault and Professor E. Neville. And finally, Hesiod's Works and Days, translated by Charles Abraham Elton. So we will begin with the reading of The Furies. Oh, and this one is a play, so as usual, I will read the characters' names before I do their speaking parts. Orestes. I, schooled in many miseries, have learnt how many refuges of cleansing shrines there be. I know when law alloweth speech, and when imposeth silence. Lo I stand, fixed now to speak, for he whose word is wise commands the same. Look how the stain of blood is dull upon mine hand, and wastes away. And laved and lost therewith is the deep curse of matricide. For while the guilt was new, 'twas banished from me at Apollo's hearth, atoned and purified by death of swine. Long were my word if I should sum the tale. How oft since then among my fellow men I stood and brought no curse. Time cleanses all. Time, the coeval of all things that are. Now from pure lips and words of omen fair, I call Athena, lady of this land, to come my champion, so in after time she shall not fail of love and service leal, not won by war from me and my land, and all the folks of Argos vowed to her. Now be she far away in Libyan land, where flows from Triton's lake her natal wave, stands she with planted feet, or in some hour of rest concealed them, champion of her friends, where'er she be, or where'er over the plain. Phlegraean she look forth as warrior bold. I cry to her to come, where'er she be, and as she as goddess from afar can hear, and aid and free me set among my foes. Chorus. Thee not Apollo nor Athena's strength can save from perishing, a castaway amid the lost, where no delight shall meet, thy soul a bloodless prey of nether powers, a shadow among shadows. Answerest thou nothing? Dost cast away my words with scorn. Thou, prepared and dedicate to me, not as a victim slain upon the shrine, but as living shalt thou see thy flesh my food. Hear now the binding chant that makes thee mine. Weave the weird dance, behold the hour, to utter forth the chant of hell. Our sway among mankind to tell, guide the guidance of our power. Of justice are we ministers, and whosoever of men may stand, lifting pure unsullied hand, that man no doom of ours incurs, and walks through all his mortal path, untouched by woe, unharmed by wrath. But if as yonder man he hath blood on the hands he strives to hide, we stand avengers at his side, decreeing, thou hast wronged the dead, we are dooms to witness thee. The price of blood his hands have shed, we wring from him, in life, in death. Hard at his side are we. Night, mother Night, who brought me forth a torment to living men and dead, hear me, O hear, by Leto's stripling son I am dishonored. He hath ta'en from me who cowers in refuge, to me made consecrate, a rightful victim him who slew his mother, given o'er to me and fate. Hear the hymn of hell o'er the victim sounding, chant of frenzy, chant of ill, sense and will confounding, round the soul entwining, without lute or lyre, soul in madness pining, wasting as with fire. Fate, all-pervading Fate, this service spun commanding, that I should bide therein, whosoever of mortals, made perverse and lawless, is stained with blood of kin. By his side are we, and hunt him ever onward, till to the silent land, the realm of death, he cometh. Neither yonder in freedom shall he stand. Hear the hymn of hell o'er the victim sounding, chant of frenzy, chant of ill, sense and will confounding, round the soul entwining, without lute or lyre, soul in madness pining, wasting as with fire. When from womb of night we sprang, on us this labor was laid and shall abide. Gods immortal are ye, yet beware ye touch not that which is our pride. None may come beside us, gathered round the blood feast. For us no garments white gleam on festal day. For us a darker fate is, another darker rite. That is mine hour when falls an ancient line, when in the household's heart the god of blood doth slay by kindred hands. Then do we bear our part. On him who slays we sweep with chasing cry, though he be triply strong. We wear and waste him. Blood atones for blood. New pain for ancient wrong. I hold this task, 'tis mine, and not another's. The very gods on high, though they can silence and annul the prayers of those who on us cry, they may not strive with us who stand apart, as race by Zeus abhorred, blood boltered, held unworthy of the council and converse of heaven's Lord. Therefore the more I leap upon my prey, upon their head I bound, my foot is hard, as one that trips a runner, I cast them to the ground. Yea, to the depth of doom intolerable, and they who erst were great, and upon earth held high their pride and glory, are brought to low estate. In underworldly waste and are diminished, the while around them the fleet, dark wavings of robes, and subtly woven the paces of my feet. Who fails to infatuate, he sees not, neither knows he that we are at his side. So closely round him, darkly flitting, the cloud of guilt doth glide. Heavily 'tis uttered, now around his hearthstone the murk of hell doth rise. Stern and fixed the law is, we have hands to chieve it, cunning to devise. Queens are we and mindful of our solemn vengeance. Not by tear or prayer shall men avert it. In unhonored darkness, far from gods, we fare, lit unto our task with torch of sunless regions, and o'er a deadly way. Deadly to the living, as to those who see not life and light of day. Hunt we and press onward, who of mortals hearing, doth not quake for all, hearing all that fate through hand of God hath given us for ordinance and law. Yea, this right to us, in dark abysm and backward of ages it befell. None shall wrong mine office, though in nether regions and sunless dark I dwell. Enter Athena from above. Athena. Far off I heard the clamor of your cry, as by Scamander's side I set my foot, asserting right upon the land given o'er to me by those who o'er Achaea's host held sway and leadership, no scanty part of all that won by spear and sword. To me they gave it, land and all that grew thereon, as chosen heirloom for my Theseus's clan. Then summoned, sped I with tireless foot, hummed on the wind, instead of wings, the fold of this mine Aegeus, by my feet propelled, as, linked to mettled horses, speeds a car. And now, beholding there earth's nether brood, I fear it not, yet are mine eyes amazed with wonder. Who are ye, of all I ask? And of this stranger to my statue clinging. But ye, your shape is like no human form, like to no goddess whom the gods behold, like to no shape which mortal women wear. Yet to stand and chide a monstrous form is all unjust. From such words right revolts. Chorus. O child of Zeus, one word shall tell thee all. We are the children of eternal night, and furies of the underworld are called. Athena. I know your lineage now, and eke your name. Chorus. Yea, and eftsoons indeed my rights shalt know. Athena. Fain I would learn them, speak them clearly forth. Chorus. We chase from home the murderers of men. Athena. And where at last can he that slew make pause? Chorus. Where this is law, all joy abandon here. Athena. Say, do ye bay this man to such a flight? Chorus. Yea, for of choice he did his mother slay. Athena. Urged by no fear of other wrath and doom. Chorus. What spur can rightly goad to matricide? Athena. Two stand to plead, only one I have heard. Chorus. He will not. Not swear nor challenge us to oath. Athena. The form of justice, not its deed, thou willest. Chorus. Prove that word, thou art not scant of skill. Athena. I say that oaths shall not enforce the wrong. Chorus. Then test the cause, judge, and award the right. Athena. Will ye trust me then this decision? Chorus. Yea, reverencing true child of worthy sire. Athena to Orestes. O man unknown, make thou thy plea in turn. Speak forth thy land, thy lineage, and thy woes. Then, if thou canst, avert this bitter blame. If, as I deem, in confidence of right, thou sittest hard beside my holy place, clasping this statue as Ixion's statue, a sacred suppliant for Zeus to cleanse, to all this answer me in words made plain. Orestes. O Queen Athena, first from thy last words will I a great solicitude remove. Not one blood guilty am I, no foul stain clings to thine image from my clinging hand, whereof one potent proof I have to tell. Lo, the law stands, the slayer shall not plead, till by the hand of him who cleanses blood, a suckling creature's blood besprinkle him. Long since I have this expiation done, in many a home, slain beasts and running streams have cleansed me. Thus I speak away thy fear. Next of my lineage quickly thou shalt learn. An Argive am I, and right well thou knowest my sire, that Agamemnon who arrayed the fleet and them that went therein to war, that chief with whom thy hand combined to crush to an uncitied heap what once was Troy. That Agamemnon, when he homeward came, was brought unto no honorable death, slain by the dark-souled wife who brought me forth to him, and wound and slain in wily nets, blazoned with blood, in that the laver ran. And I, returning from an exiled loose, slew her, my mother, lo, it stands avowed, with blood for blood avenging my loved sire, and in this deed doth Loxias bear part, decreeing agonies to goad my will, unless by me the guilty found their doom. Do thou decide if right or wrong were done, thy dooming whatsoever it be contents me. Athena. Too mighty is this matter whatsoe'er of mortals claims to judge hereof aright. Yea, me, even me, eternal right forbids to judge the issues of blood, guilt, and wrath that follow swift behind. This too gives pause, that thou as one with all rites performed dost come unsinning peer into my shine. Whatever thou art, in this city's name, as uncondemned, I take thee to my side. Yet have these foes of thine such dues by fate, I may not banish them, and if they fail, o'erthrown in judgment of the cause, forthwith their anger's poison shall infect the land, a dropping plague spot of eternal ill. Thus we stand with a woe on either hand. Stay they, or go at my commandment forth, perplexity or pain must needs befall. Yet, as on me fate hath imposed the cause, I choose unto me judges that shall be an ordinance for ever set to rule, the dues of blood guilt upon oath declared. But ye call forth your witness and your proof, words strong for justice, fortified by oath, and I, whoever are truest in my town, them will I choose and bring, and straitly charge. Look on this cause, discriminating well, and pledge your oath to utter naught of wrong. Okay, and that is the end of the theories section. And apparently next on my script is Hesiod, but it says here that Hesiod was last. We'll go with my script. It must have copied over wrong. My bad. So this is Hesiod's Works and Days. O Perseus, thou within thy secret breast repose the maxims by my care impressed, nor ever let that evil joying strife have power to wean thee from the toils of life. Whilst thy prying eyes the forum draws, thine ears the process and the din of laws. Small care be his of wrangling and debate, for whose ungathered food the garners wait. Who once within the summer's plenty stored, earth's kindly fruits and Ceres' yearly hoard. With these replenished at the brawling bar, for others' wealth go instigate the war. But this thou mayest no more, let justice guide, best boon of heaven and future strife decide. Not so we shared the patrimonial land, when greedy pillage filled thy grasping hand. The bribe devouring judges lulled by thee, the sentence gave and stamped the falsehood's decree. O fools, who know not in their selfish soul, how far the half is better than the whole. The good of which asphodel and mallows yield, the field of herbs, the dainties of the field. The food of man in deep concealment lies, the angry gods have hid it from our eyes. else had one day bestowed sufficient cheer, and though inactive, feed thee through the year. Then might thy hand have laid the rudder by, in blackening smoke forever hung on high. Then had the laboring ox forgone the soil, and patient mules have found reprieve from toil. But Jove concealed our food in sense and heart, since mocked by wise Prometheus' wily art. So ills to man devised the heavenly sire, and hid the shining element of fire. Prometheus then, benevolent of soul, in hollow reed the spark recovering stole, cheering to man and mocked the god, whose gaze serene rejoices in lightning's blaze. O son of Japhet, with indignant heart, spake the cloud-gatherer, O unmatched in art, exultest thou in this the flame retrieved, and dost thou triumph in the god deceived? But thou with the posterity of man shall rue the fraud whence mightier ills began. I will send evil for thy stealthy fire, an ill which all shall love and all desire. The sire who rules earth and sways the pole had said, and laughter filled his secret soul. He bade famed Vulcan with the speed of thought mold plastic clay with tempering waters wrought, informed with voice of man the murmuring tongue, with limbs a man's elastic vigor strung, the aspect fair as goddesses above, a virgin's likeness with boughs of love. He bade Minerva teach the skill that sheds 1,000 colors in the gliding threads, bade lovely Venus breathe around her face the charm of air, the witchery of grace. Infuse corroding pangs of keen desire, and cares that trick the form with prank attire. Bade Hermes last implant the craft refined of thievish manners and shameless mind. He gives command that inferior powers obey, the crippled artist molds the tempered clay. By Jove's design a maid's coy image rose, the zone dress Minerva's hands dispose. Adored persuasion and the Graces young, with chains of gold her shapely person hung. Round her smooth brow the beauteous tressed hours a garland twined of spring's purpureal flowers. The whole Minerva with adjusting art forms to her shape and fits to every part. Last, by the counsels of deep thundering Jove, the Argoside, his herald from above, adds thievish manners, adds insidious lies, and prattled speech of sprightly railleries. Then by the wise interpreter of heaven, the name Pandora to the maid was given. Since in all heaven conferred their gifts to charm, for man's inventive race this beauteous harm. When now the sire had formed this mischievous fair, he bade heaven's messenger convey through the air to Epimetheus' hands the intricable snare. Nor he recalled within his heedless thought the warning lesson by Prometheus taught, that he disdain each present from the skies, and straight restore, lest ill to man arise. But he received, and conscious knew too late, the insidious gift, and felt the curse of fate. On earth of yore the sons of men abode, from evil free and labor's galling load, free from diseases that with racking rage precipitate the pale decline of age. Now swift the days of manhood waste away, and misery's pressure turns the temples gray. The woman's hands an ample casket bear, she lift the lid, she scatters ills in air. Within thy unbroken vase hope sole remained, beneath the vessel's rim from flight detained. The maid by counsels of cloud-gathering Jove the coffer sealed and dropped the lid above. Issue the rest in quick dispersion hurled, and woes are numerous roam the breathing world. With ills the land is rife, with ills the sea, diseases haunt our frail humanity. Through noon, through night, on casual wing they glide, silent, a voice the power all-wise denied. Thus mayest thou not elude the omniscient mind. Now if thy thoughts be to my speech inclined, I in brief phrase would other lore impart, wisely and well thou grave it on thy heart. When gods alike and mortals rose to birth, a golden race the immortals formed on earth. Of many languaged men they lived of old, when Saturn reigned in heaven an age of gold. Like gods they lived with calm untroubled mind, free from the toils and anguish of our kind. Nor ere decrepit age misshape their frame, the hands, the foots, proportions still the same. Strangers to ill, their lives in peace flowed by, wealthy in flux, dear to the blest on high. Dying they sank in sleep, nor seemed to die. Theirs was each good, the life-sustaining soil yielded copious fruits unbridled by toil. They with all abundant goods, midst quiet lands, all willing shared the gatherings of their hands. When earth's dark womb had closed this race around, high Jove as daemons raised from the ground, earth-wandering spirits their charge began, the ministers of good and guards of man. Mantled with mist of darkling ere they glide, and compass earth, and pass on every side, and mark with earnest vigilance of eyes, where just deeds live or crooked wrongs arise. Their kingly state and delegate from heaven, by their vicarious hands the wealth of fields is given. The gods then formed a second race of man, degenerate far, silver years began. Unlike the mortals of golden kind, unlike of frame, of limbs, and mold of mind. Yet still 100 years beheld the boy beneath the mother's roof, her infant joy, all tender and uniformed, but when the flower of manhood bloomed, it withered in an hour. Their frantic follies wrought them pain and woe, no mutual outage could their hands forgo. Nor would they serve the gods nor altars raise, that in just city said their holy blaze. Them angry Jove engulfed who dared refuse the gods their glory and their sacred dues, yet named the second blessed in earth they lie, and second honors grace their memory. The sire of heaven and earth created then a race the third of many languaged men. Unlike the silver, they of brazen mold, with ashen war spears, terrible and bold. Their thoughts were bent on violence alone, the deeds of battle and the dying groan. Bloody their feasts, with wheaten food of none blessed, of adamant was each unyielding breast. Huge nerved with strength, each hardy giant stands, and mocks approach with unresisted hands. Their mansions, implements, and armor shine in brass, dark iron slept within the mine. They by each other's hands inglorious fell, in freezing darkness plunged the house of hell. Fierce though they were, their mortal course was run, death gloomy seized, and snatched them from the sun. Then when thy abyss had covered from the skies, lo, the fourth age on nurturing earth arise. Jove formed the race a better juster line, a race of heroes and of stamp divine. Lights of the age that rose before our own, as demigods o'er the earth's wide regions known. Yet these bred bath will hurry to their end, some where the sevenfold gates of Thebes ascend, the Cadmean realm where they with fatal might strove for the flocks of Oedipus in fight. Some warring navies led to Troy's far shore, o'er a great space of sea their course they wore, for the sake of Helen with the beauteous hair, and death for Helen's sake o'erwhelmed them there. Them on earth's most revenge the god assigned a life, a seat, a distinct from humankind, besides the deepening whirlpools of the main, in those blest isles where Saturn holds his reign. Apart from heaven's immortals, calm they share, a rest unsullied by clouds and care. And yearly thrice with seat, luxuriance crowned, springs the ripe harvest from the teeming ground. Oh, would that nature had denied me birth midst this fifth race, this iron age of earth, that long before within the grave I lay, or long hereafter could behold the day, corrupt the race with toils and griefs oppressed, nor day nor night can yield a pause of rest. Still do the gods a weight of care bestow, though still some good is mingled with the woe. Jove on this race of many languaged man speeds swift ruin which but slow began, for scarcely spring they to the light of day, ere age untimely strews their temples gray. No fathers in their sons' features trace, the sons reflect no more the father's face. The host with kindness greets his guests no more, and friends and brethren love not as of yore. Reckless of heaven's revenge, the sons behold, if the hoary parents wax too swiftly old. In impious point the keen dishonoring tongue, with hard reproofs and bitter mockeries hung, nor grateful in declining age repay the nurturing fondness of the better day. Okay, and now we'll pick up with the prayer from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And this is just one of many, many prayers in there. I picked one. Hail to thee, mighty God, Lord of righteousness. I am come to thee, O my Lord. I have brought myself that I may look upon thy glory. I know thee, and I know the name of the 42 gods who make their appearance with thee in the hall of righteousness, devouring those who harbor mischief, and swallowing their blood, upon the day of the searching examination in the presence of Neferu. Verily, thou of the pair of eyes, Lord of righteousness is thy name. Here am I come to thee. I bring to thee right and have put a stop to wrong. I am not a doer of wrong to men. I am not one who slayeth his kindred. I am not one who telleth lies instead of truth. I am not conscious of treason. I am not a doer of mischief. I do not exact as the first fruits of each day more work than should be done for me. My name cometh not to the bark of the God who is at the helm. I am not a transgressor against the God. I am not a talebearer. I am not a detractor. I am not a doer of that which the gods abhor. I hurt no servant with his master. I cause no famine. I cause not weeping. I am not a murderer. I give not orders for murder. I cause not suffering to men. I reduce not the offerings in temples. I lessen not the cakes of the gods. I rob not the dead of their funereal food. I am not an adulterer. I am undefiled in the sanctuary of the God of my domain. I neither increase nor diminish the measures of grain. I am not one who shorteth the palm's length. I am not one who cutteth short the field's measure. I put not pressure upon the beam of the balance. I tamper not with the tongue of the balance. I snatch not the milk from the mouths of infants. I drive not the cattle from their pastures. I net not the birds of the manors of the gods. I catch not the fish of their ponds. I stop not the water at its appointed time. I divide not an arm of the water in its course. I extinguish not the lamp during its appointed time. I do not defraud the divine circle of their sacrificial joints. I drive not away the cattle of this sacred estate. I stop not a god when he cometh forth. I am pure, I am pure, I am pure, I am pure. My purity is that of the great Benun in Sutton Honen, for I am the nose of the Lord of Air, who giveth my life to all mortals, on the day when the eye is full in Anu, on the last day of Mekir, in presence of the Lord of this land. And I am one who see the fullness of the eye in Anu, let no harm come to me in this land, in the hall of righteousness, because I know the names of the gods who make their appearance. That, so sorry, that ended up being way longer than I anticipated. Um, but as our theme is loyalty, if you didn't notice, all of these readings are about being loyalty to right action, and values, especially Orestes, because even though he kills his mother, matricide, which is a wrong action, he does it in order to make right a wronger action, his mother killing his father. And so that is what the goal of that one is. And so this is all about especially punishment for not being loyal. Prometheus is not loyal, and all of these people are judged at the end of their life in the Book of Dead for being loyal to the values of Egypt. And that's all I'm going to say because this ended up being so long. So we'll now move into the ritual portion of the observance, and I will play the video. Maybe. There it goes. Don't know why that happened. We leave this offering for our gods to symbolize our connection and devotion. We gift this rock to symbolize the stability of the gods in our world. We gift this water to accept the flow of our lives. We welcome life and bless our offerings with oil to share our riches. We embrace our connection to each other and the world and celebrate our revival. Okay, we'll now read the closing words, and just like with the opening ones, you can listen as I read them aloud or read them aloud along with me. As we move out into the world, let us remember our community of faith. Cherish love and open your heart as you walk through life. Hold dear the light of the gods in our connection with the natural world. Go forth in celebration and carry the light of connection within your heart. And I will see you all in December.